I mean, for the man and the woman, it is just the same thing. They have their different roles. And you just observe it, You just observe it and see it, You're amazed, You see these patterns, But the people themselves don't see them.
Just act.
They try, of course, each sex wants to attract the other sex, no matter if that sex is married or not. I mean, why do women want to be beautiful, If she can attract other men. I mean, that's the only purpose, And why do men now dress up the same way? I mean, in Europe, they go to a hair stylist.
Here too?
Yeah, now here too as well. But before here, wasn't it? I mean, 20, 30 years ago, a man, he just got a haircut, no matter what. I mean, put a pot around it, and just cut it off. Nobody was interested. Now the men, go and style themselves.
It used to be too. I mean, you see the picture of Napoleon, they're wearing, high heeled men's dress up. It's just like chicken. The male is more attractive than.
Yeah, just look at the cocks and the chickens. How they do it. It's just the same. The animals show us everything, what we do. But we ourselves think, we are better than animals. We don't differ. I mean, only the people who can control themselves. And then the women complain that they get raped, or, that they get grabbed. I mean, they are the ones who expose the genitals or the female sex organs. And then they complain that the men grab them. I mean, isn't it a joke? The same thing for men. And for men, it's not so wild yet, because normally a man hardly gets raped by a woman. But he dresses up. He styles like a cock as well. I mean, look at the perfumes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it started when I stopped. When I stopped my work and then went to become a recluse, it started that the men have to have, their perfumes as well, I mean, aftershave was okay, but then there come different kinds of aftershave, and then pre-shave, aftershave, and spray. I mean, what do we want to hide? The loathsomeness of this body, the stinking nature of this body. I mean, that's why we use perfume and sprays and all sorts of things. I mean, to illusion ourselves that this body is something that is really nice. But we try to sell this body, be it male or be it female. We sell this body, and if it's beautiful, we can sell it. Now in this world, we can sell it. If it's athletic, we can sell it. I mean, an athlete, now times earns much more money than a really, carpenter. I mean, something that has some value. I mean, how much does a carpenter get? How much gets a football player? I mean, just look at it. I mean, it has all screwed up. It's all screwed up. I mean, the values of the society is completely screwed up. And it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, we always need to do something to our body or to our appearance. Before it was enough that a man was intelligent and clever. No? But now he has to, if he doesn't go to this stylist or that stylist, he doesn't wear this kind of shirt or suit or whatever. Shoes, brand. I mean, he's out. Nobody's interested. I mean, look at this perversion. And we don't know it. Because we just follow like the herd follows the leader of the herd. So we follow our course and our advertisement, and that's it. Magazines, it's all there. Even newspapers, This you have to wear, if you take this product, you will become happy. What a kind of complete nonsense. Or you won't get lonely, if you use this perfume, but people are so stupid. Are they really so stupid and believe it? But they go and buy it. Look at the car. Look at the advertisement of a car. Normally they don't use men. They use sexy women, So that the men who buy the car think that if they buy the car they get a sexy woman. It comes with it. And of course, the women see it, and they get attracted to this kind of men as well. The greater pimp, the bigger the car. I'm just left breathless. But we do it because we don't have mindfulness. We just have. I don't know what it is. It's just the instinct. It's just the bare instinct. And then in this sense, it doesn't. We are not different from animals. You have the ability to look at animals, Look at the turtles, how they do.
Wow. It's really bad.
It's all the rabbits. The rabbits the same thing,
Yeah, but the turtles around the block. The turtles there.
Well, when we come from the West, we never seen turtles make laugh. But here we do.
Real turtles, they are really old. They are terrible.
Or the chickens, Look at them.
Yeah.
We have so many, We look at the woman, look at the female chicken and the male chicken, one male chicken grabs a female, and three other males are standing around waiting in line.
Dreadful. I was watching from the shed, trying to catch her again. Oh. She passed by when some other do.
It's instinct. But then look at me, at the first beginning I thought, oh, this poor female chicken, But then I watched her behavior. And then she wiggles her tail. Boop, 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 boop. And then the cock comes up. Boop. Grabs her, really by the neck, It's very painful, But if she doesn't do it, the cock doesn't come around. So if the woman doesn't dress up, coming back to human society, if the woman doesn't dress up and wiggles her back or her butt, then the men are not interested. The more breast she shows, the more men, look at Abab. It's just the same way. But we always think we are better than animals. But in that respect, we are not different at all.
Same instincts.
That's the animal's instinct.
Yeah. That's the animal instinct, And we are, at the moment, we are cultivating this animal instinct up to the highest degree.
Yeah.
With all this fashion, with all these perfumes, with all everything,
That's right.
Up to the highest degree, this animal instinct, We completely forget that we are human beings, Have a mind, can think about things. Can stop things, When we see something is not good, we can stop them. Now we see a beautiful woman. Boop, bye. Or, at least, want to get in contact with her, Unintentionally, bump into her, Yeah. One way or the other. And then our senses are stimulated. Some of the poor men who can't control, I mean, then they go and rape. Because they can't control the sense, because they're still animals. And then they get disgusted. I mean, we do it. But we get disgusted about other people. Of course, It doesn't say it's right. We are human beings, so we should be able to control ourselves. But we shouldn't behave like animals. And we do say that in each kind of language. Look at them, they just behave like animals. So, when they are dead, where are they born? They're reborn in the animal realm. Because, it just leads to that.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, just following the senses, just following the instinct, it doesn't differentiate us from animals. So when they die, they will become animals. Well, I hope they are happy then. I mean, just looking at it, they are not happy. None of the animals, are completely satisfied or happy. They're constantly afraid of death. Then just look at the rabbits. Just look, as nice as they look, or the birds, when they sing, But, when they look for food, they're constantly worried about that, some other animal grabs them. And
Then comes the Vinay. I used to ask Thanajan Juan why the monks have to do such a little things, just like that. You have to sit to drink, like something like that. He said, he used to ask the Bukha too. And Bukha said, I used to ask Thanajan Man too, this kind of little things. And Thanajan Man said that this is our behavior of animals. The Buddha wants us to be free, to teach us the habits of human beings, not lower than human beings. Because animals always stand when they drink, when they eat. So I have to stop cocktail there.
Not only that, but when you look at the whole Vinaya, I mean, it makes us mindful for whatever we are doing just right now. I mean, we have so many rules. If a monk is really following this route, he gets to know what he's doing. And how is he doing it? I mean, most of you, you're hungry, you get to eat, and you don't even know how to eat anymore.
Sorry?
You don't know how you eat, you just gulp it in. I mean, you are completely unaware because you're only hungry. I mean, what is in your mind is you're hungry. You only stuff the food in. I mean, if you were educated in a high-class family, then of course your manners are good. But if you are educated in a low-class, in a working-class family, you just gulp it in.
But the greedy is the same.
I mean, for whatever, it's always the same. I mean, we have laws, and these laws are very close to human laws. I mean, they make us human beings, not to steal. I mean, it's the same as the precepts. Not to kill. I mean, there are laws. Not to steal, not to kill. I mean, there was a law against sexual misconduct as well, once. But I mean, they mostly removed it. Now, all what remains is, the protection of youngsters.
Did they have adultery, fornication?
In most of the laws, there is still adultery.
Yeah, that's right. They still have that, Jamaica.
I mean, you can if you want to get separate from your wife because one of the partners are separate from your partner, still this adultery. But you cannot, you're not going to be punished for adultery. But the other partner can ask for getting separated from you because you admitted adultery. But there's no punishment. If you see somebody making adultery, and you go to the police.
You have to pay to. If you commit adultery to my wife,
maybe in Thailand, yeah, but not in the West.
In Singapore too,
Yeah, so it's good, but they remove these things, huh? But there are some of the laws, resemble just the 5 precepts. The pity is that there's no law. against alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs, yes,
Drugs, yes.
that. But alcohol, the state is profiting from.
Well, when they put in alcohol prohibition in the States, all it did was create the mafia, and the consumption of alcohol went up.
You can't. I mean, it's so basic. You can't stop it.
Yeah. And the same thing was happening with drugs.
Yes. I mean, it makes, people, if something is forbidden, people even more like it.
It's chic.
I mean, people just love it, to do. And when I just look at my own life, whenever my parents said, you shouldn't do this, I love to do this. I mean, it's just the opposite that you want to do.
It must be.
Isn't it? It's a kilesa, isn't it? When Janaja Mahabor, forbids his monk to use handphone telephones, I mean, within 2 months, the number of handphone telephones used by the monks increased by double. Suddenly everybody had a telephone. Before there only a few months had a telephone. After Tanaja Mahabor said it, and warned his monk, if I catch you, I'll kick you out. I mean, the number increased. Within 3 months, it increased by...
The number in the kitchen. Or the big people. Or the big people.
I mean, the women in the kitchen are calling the monks.
Started first. The big people started first.
Yes, of course.
The big people.
I mean, when I came here in Thailand, I mean, they had clocks that were, people like to wear the handheld, but holds there. No, not for the monk, for the lay people. Yeah. Oh, you have a handhold phone? And it was just it was a cheap imitator of a watch. It just looked like a handheld telephone. They wanted all to have handheld telephones too, because the people, it was a high value. I mean, we just do the opposite that our parents or our teachers ask us of. Don't do this, and we are especially interested in doing just this. There must be something good about it,
Let's try.
That's just the way. It's just the way of the Kilesa. I mean, I was surprised. But it's just the way it is.
Shahid's gone, the Frenchman.
Yes, but he had no visa.
Oh.
I mean, he didn't care about, Yes or no?
Oh, well, if he takes more time here, maybe he could do something to suit himself. He looks very much in trouble.
Yes, but I mean, people coming from the West, they think only then only the practice is important. I mean, our behavior is important. I mean, if you let something, if I enter a country, and it allows me to stay for 2 months, and tells me, after 2 months you have to leave or renew your visa. I mean, it's a law. Then I just follow the law. If I just say, I don't care, it doesn't really matter, I stay in this country as long as I want. I mean, it has to come back to our practice. Then we just say, sooner or later in our practice we do the same thing. I don't care, it doesn't really matter. I mean, whatever really doesn't matter, that's where the biggest danger lurks behind it. That's where the kilesas, get their power from. That's why we do have to think. That's why we have to think. What is today? Why we do have to do things properly. I mean, whatever we do, we have to do things properly. And it will come and it will reflect in our practice. That's why people whose practices will do things properly in the world. I mean, they don't say, oh, this is not so important, that is not so important, that is not so important. Our behavior is important. We are guests here. When we come from the West, we are guests here, and we respect. And we are grateful that we are allowed to come in. I mean, you come from Germany, and you know how difficult it is to get into Germany, to get a visa. I mean, if you're Thai, you hardly get a visa to go to Germany. I mean, they make so many troubles. And how easy is it to go for us to Thailand? I just merely invite us. I mean, if you don't come from one of the 7 countries, the top countries in the world, then it's very difficult in Germany or in Europe to get a visa. They question you all sorts of things. Why do you want to come here? Do you have enough money?
You have to go to the United States. I have a visa for the United States, and it was so complicated. To go to United States by visa.
It's the same thing,
They wanted all to know about me. Are you a terrorist? Really, it was a question. Do you want to harm some people here? And, they asked. We have to. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
How do you know that my answer will be right?
Yes, are you a terrorist?
I mean, you just fill out. Of course, yes, I want to harm people. Yes, I want to kill people. Yes, I'm a terrorist. I mean, that's a stupid. It's just stupid, isn't it?
Well, the question is stupid, but to get a stupid answer would be like getting on an airplane and saying, "Is this a plane that's getting hijacked from Cuba?" I mean, they would just grab you and drag you off the plane, hold you in place.
I mean, we always, when we come from the West and we are not really aware, we always think, as long as we don't get into touch, we call them third world countries. Third world. I mean, we are the first world. So we are the supreme apes, the supreme monkeys, and they are the third class monkeys. I mean, we send only the third class products to third class countries. But in what respect are we supreme? We are supreme animals. And the third world countries are much more human than the first world countries. Or you at least used to be, as long as, there was not a global connection.
Some of them are, I think.
I mean, just look at China. It had a culture, that was superior to all the cultures in the rest of the planet. Oh, what did the Europeans do? They trampled on it. I mean, they ridiculed it. Because they had the power, the brute power of male apes. Yeah. That's how they controlled, How did they control Africa? How did they control India? I mean, India had a higher culture than Europe.
Yep.
How did they trample upon that?
Weapons.
With the brutal weapons. Brutality of apes. I mean, they just had the weapons, and they killed whatever came into their way. Do you believe in God? No. Head off. But that sticks to our culture, and we call ourselves highly civilized. I mean, we are highly trained animals. That's all. Highly. I mean, we just, at the moment, we foster all the animal instincts. And we are so proud of it. Just like the cocks. I mean, just look at them. They're so proud of it, the more shiny they are,
Even the way you all eat is the way you stop the knife, right? Knife is for killing, but you use it table way.
I just mentioned it not to complain about it, just to show us, when we come from the West, we still have all these manners and behaviors in us. And we don't think about it because, everybody around us just behaves the same way.
Dragon.
ถือป้อมด้วยมังกร
Mangkon is dragon.
Yeah.
I call him Hang Mangkon.
Hang Mangkon.
Because it's coming up. It's coming up. He wants a candle just like that. You just.
So, are we still proud of our civilization? We ruined everything that was civilized.
We killed people in the third world. And
we just don't respect them.
Enslaved them.
You don't respect them. We see what we want in their country, and that's what we take.
Destroyed all. Yeah.
But bear in mind that like the cultures that we were apes and conquered. Those cultures were apes and conquered. Created their cultures that way. Because in India, if you read some of the, the history of it, it was the Moguls that the British overthrew, and they invaded down from Afghanistan. And in China, the Chinese, that's a pretty brutal history. And what dynasty?
Qing dynasty, Opium War.
Yeah, the Qing dynasty.
The Opium War.
Yeah, the Qing dynasty.
Of course, it doesn't mean, that the civilized country doesn't make war. But, the way they do the war, is it human, We had to enforce laws for the war. But do the people? What is the Geneva Convention, huh? Mm-hmm. Because we were so brutally slaughtering people in the war. But there was an etiquette, 500 years ago there was an etiquette. A lay person, wasn't involved in the war.
Sorry?
A lay person, wasn't involved in the war. Only the soldiers fight themselves, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the battlefield, they had their battlefield, they fight themselves, and they had a code of, conduct. But it just in the beginning of the century, it was just slaughtering, mass slaughtering. World War I, they used every kind of means, just to get at somebody.
The American Civil War was a prelude to World War I.
Yeah.
In the past, they confined the battle.
Of course, the generals, who were in charge of the battle, treated themselves with respect. And made out, what to do, And, if a soldier was wounded, he wasn't just slaughtered, he was kept there. And then at the end of the battle, the wounded were, kept back in. But now, in a war, if another soldier keeps a wounded, he's shot as well.
Unconventional.
It's completely animal. We completely regress to animal instinct.
Also, in those days, there is still some bonding of loyalty, a sense of loyalty there when they fight too.
It was in Chinese, it was in each kind of tradition, even in Roman. They had them more.
Or the code of conduct.
They have their code of conduct. They couldn't just do these things. So. Of course, there were always breaches of conduct, but they were punished for that.
That's interesting.
But nowadays, it's just animal, They don't even say, I just kill you. If you don't do what I like, I just kill you. I just throw a bomb on you. Nuke them. That expression is really great. Go and nuke them.
Did you ever read anything about Genghis Khan's strategy? It was like he took total war to these extremes because he would capture a city and then he would create just these enormous atrocities, but let half the people go. His army would follow him, not catching up with him, but just enough to just and he wanted them to go into the next city so they'd eat all the food, you know, and bring all these tales of terror.
I don't know.
It's like, there's been, war is war, and war is animals.
Yeah. Anyway, well, let's go back, you know. Let's go back to our civilization, huh? I mean, it's what is the actual meaning of civilized? I mean, if it's not really you know, we should call ourselves humanists. We want to become human beings. We don't want to digress to animals.
Civil means essentially non-military, and civilization essentially means non-military.
Well, look at our civilization, who is non-military.
I know, but I'm just saying. Was it Gandhi who somebody asked at one time, what do you think of Western civilization? And he said, I think it would be a good idea.
That's good.
I mean, communism is also a good idea.
It's a good idea, but it's...
Yeah. Communism, you know, when you look at when you're familiar with Christianity, and you look at the communities of the Christian in the first time, then they were really communists.
Yeah.
I mean, they shared everything that they had with each other, but they weren't forced to. I mean, just forcing anybody, you know, will create counter. Yeah. And, you know, if you force upon communism on the people, you know, it will create counter effects. Just the opposite of it. Just like it, you know, now we come back, you know, whenever a teacher says, you should do this, you should behave this way, and we just love to do the opposite. It's just within our nature of greed and hate, you know. We just don't want to follow what the parents tell us, you know. What do they know? I mean, you know, just the assumption, what do they know, you know? I want this, you know. And that is the only thing that counts for me. I'm 15 years old, I want this, you know. Why don't they give it to me? We never. And that is the same thing in a relationship when a Westerner comes to a teacher. It's the same thing with a relationship. I want. I mean, we never respect, you know, what he has attained, yeah? It just says we shouldn't do this, you know, we should do this. And in the beginning we like it, and then in the end, you know, it goes against our kilesas. And then we don't like it anymore. Who is he? Go. Just the same way we behave towards our parents. I mean, respect. I mean, we talk a lot about respect in the West, you know, but respect is only, we respect money. Position.
Power.
Yeah, position and power. Huh? Are the people who have power, who have money, are responsible? No. I mean, the people in the government now, I guess in each country, are the worst. I mean, they're just like, what is it? What is Asgaya?
Oh, I don't know.
Vultures. They're just vultures, you know?
Vultures.
Living on their own, living on the flesh of the people that they rule.
Parasites.
Oh, parasites is a very, very modest word, huh? Vultures, you know. I remember Tanaja Mahabua talking about the Thai government, you know, being full of vultures. I mean, it was 10 years ago, you know? Because they were selling their own country. For their profit, not for the profit of the country. They were selling state property, you know, to foreigners who, you know, and they kept the money. I mean, what is it, you know?
Yeah.
And what do our politicians do? They keep their Mercedes-Benz out. They keep that. They constantly increase their salary, and the more they increase their salary, the more people are chopped. So they give them a little bit, you know.
But respect is something that endures somehow, whereas like what people feel for people with money or people with power, could you call that really respect?
No. Of course, I don't call it respect.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, it's not really.
But that's what we think. That's what we call respect. Huh?
It's called falling.
I mean, that we are afraid, when we go and see the head of a big company, huh? I mean, he just takes off his clothes and he just looks like us. I mean, we do have a culture, in the West, The clothes of the king, was a very good tale.
Yeah.
I mean, the king clothes. Yeah? I mean, only a little child who had nothing, who had no wisdom or understanding said, look at he's naked.
Why does the king have his clothes on?
And the other people were so afraid, they wouldn't dare to say it. It was the finest clothes, it was so fine as I mean, a normal-minded person would see it. Why doesn't he have any clothes on? And the king heard it. And that's what, clothes made people. And now, it's the same thing. Brand names make people. Money make people. Position make people. And that's what we are after, The moment we are young, we are dreaming of getting a position or getting money or getting this or that. So that we are in power to control. Just like a cock, controls his chickens. I mean, if he's a good cock, he doesn't let any other cock.
Yeah, but wait until he's getting old.
Yeah, I mean, they just wait. They just wait. When you look at, when you look at it, they just wait. And one picks at him, and then when he's chased away, and the next day he comes and picks at him, he just sees, Are you old enough, do you let me go? Have some fun with you.
When he chases one, he goes running off chasing one, all the other ones move in. I mean, it's like... No,
but when we look at it, we never reflect that we are just the same way. In our position, when we are in the company, and I saw it with and experienced it, that I never wanted any responsibility. I mean, they're just waiting to take it out. I mean, they're just waiting for the opportunity. Everyone, just like,
That's true.
Slava comes out of the mountain, waiting for a good opportunity. Once they have it, and they dig whatever they can dig up about this person,
If somebody is weak, then they're just waiting.
I mean, even if he's strong, he's becoming weak. And then he's taken down just the same way as he took down the others.
That's it, yeah.
I mean, that's karma.
That's it.
But people don't see it. I mean, we are so completely blinded. We see these chickens behaving and we think, oh, good, we are not like them. But we are just behaving just like them. Not different in any ways.
That's it, yeah.
In every kind of aspect of our society, we're just behaving like animals. I mean, just look at the way we do harm to other people. But if we don't do it, with a dagger, then we do it with words.
Words is very sharp. Oh gosh.
Yes. If we are weak, we use words. If we are weak, that's why the weakest people became the biggest generals. I mean, just look at Hitler or look at Napoleon. In their stature, they were very weak. And then their morals, they were very weak, But they became big generals because of their knowledge of the power. And their control, That's why we say, only a small man with a little pin, drives a Porsche. Shraga all the way.
Well, people talk about a Napoleon complex, that a little man's complex.
Yeah, it's a complex. And they have to substitute it. I mean, Freud described it very, very clearly how they substitute these. And it comes actually quite close, huh? But they all stop at the most important thing, at the chitta. I mean, they investigate the brain, they investigate the nervous system, they investigate the heart, they know everything about this body. They don't know who is behind this body. That's what they can't, they can't even grasp, yeah?
I think, Christianity was still so strong in the West in the 1800s, and even into the 1900s, that basically it was taboo. And I mean, they would be attacked if they started getting into that area because it was considered religion. And even Darwin didn't publish his work for like 20 years or something because he was afraid that he would be
outcasted.
Yeah.
I mean, even thinking like abduction of a body. I mean, opening a body was completely out of the question. It was a sacred thing.
Autopsy. That was
autopsy was considered, I mean, the first time they did it in the 17th or 18th century, they were nearly killed by the church. That's why Western medicine is so behind every kind of other medicines in the world.
Again, the medicine doesn't take anything spiritual into consideration.
Now they do it, in the 90s it changed a little bit. But only because of some of the doctors actually went to Asia.
They did it research.
It doesn't matter if they were German or other French.
Even better than the Chinese now, Chinese with mat.
Acupuncture.
Yeah, no. It's just mat, and they would know what's wrong with you. The German now study, and they make house reading.
Oh.
They did it by electricity. It's a machine. You put it in, and they could know what's wrong with you. So you see, our Eastern way is just to balance the nature in ourselves. They do the same. They do the same now, and they put it in a machine. They know what's wrong with you, and they took off a little blood from you, and then they put it they call it stem cell medicine.
I don't know.
They put it into your subject. That time I used to be treated like that.
No, I think in States they have a university to study some Chinese like meridian line actually, the acupuncture, the valve.
It really doesn't matter, because of course, through the opening of the world, we come and found Buddhism because people were traveling. Actually, well-known writers were traveling to the East and then bringing Buddhism back to the West.
Yeah, but which Buddhism?
I mean, whatever they understood of Buddhism. And that's the same thing, whatever we understand, if doctors are traveling to the East and whatever they understand of medicine, that's what they bring back. I mean, if they really deeply understand, if a person really deeply understands it, then of course, the more he brings back. And the more he can make out of it. I mean, it's always a question, where do we stop? I mean, we always stop when we get hurt, We stop grabbing into the fire the moment it gets too hot. We can't bear the pain anymore. That's where we stop. We stop our learning the moment it gets too painful. But the difference between people, some people can take more pain and some people can take less pain.
Now they start a new religion, humanism. Humanism.
That's very old. It's very old. It's born in the 19th century.
Yeah, but it's renewed now.
Where?
International.
Where?
It's based in Netherlands.
Huh?
Yeah. But it's in the States as well.
What was it about?
What is it?
Because they think that a human is brave than any other beings. We don't need to believe in God. That's why.
Believe in the kilesa, ใช่ไหม
Yeah, of course.
Because we're good from the beginning, but they believe in ethics and this kind of thing. Einstein was one of them. Most of
Yes,
them.
but now of course they perverted it again.
Yeah.
I mean, humanism came up in the 1930s.
Yeah.
By all this high educated physicists and mathematicians,
Yeah.
Einstein, what were the other names? Heisenberg and so on.
Yeah.
They were all for the ethics, huh? But of course they had the just the opposite, just in front of their eyes. I mean, they had Hitler in front of their eyes. I mean, there was no wonder,
They don't remember that all their goodness, all their ethics come from education, from their parents, from the church that they went to when they were young.
Of course.
But they just don't believe. They just think that human being is great.
Well, the humanism I think you're talking about in the States
Yeah.
is the idea that man is intrinsically good, not intrinsically bad, as Christianity was teaching. That man was intrinsically bad in original sin. And it was basically...
And neither of them is true.
But that's what it was basically...
I mean, a man is not intrinsically good, nor is he intrinsically bad. I mean, he's bad if he does bad, and he's good if he does good. It's just so simple.
No, but I mean the idea that man, you're bad, and it's in your genes.
I mean that what does it create? Look at America. What does it create? Nobody is bad. Everybody is good.
Puritans.
I mean, it's all undercover then, the bad thing. Because we're intrinsically good, every person is intrinsically good. I mean, it's just,
No, that's a recent thing is what I'm talking about, is what the humanism she was talking about, the new humanism.
But, if something shoots up, it has been ingrained in society.
It's a reaction, I think, to a lot of the stuff that people are rejecting now, like the culture. I mean, it's amazing, sort of, the way the world is running together now. And
no, it's not amazing.
Well, I mean, I think it's just the things that are happening that are extraordinary. It's more change going on now than probably, I mean, I can't think of another period in history where this much change.
I mean, we don't know. We just don't know. All what we know is 10,000 years of history.
10,000 years, is it?
Yeah.
The oldest civilization, is it Egyptian?
Yes. That's even Sumerians were before Egyptians, but we hardly know anything about Sumerians. The first thing that we know is about Egyptians. And then the oldest culture in Thailand that was 7,000 years ago.
I thought they dug out some...
Yes.
Well,
7,000 years.
History goes back to the Ice
In
Age.
Banchan, ใช่ไหมคะ
And then
No, not history of civilization.
Yes,
I mean...
But they did it in Pakistan. What's the word for that? It's just older than Sumerians.
They dug out something in Banchan ใช่ไหมไกลจากที่นี่ some earthenware and they traced the whatever.
Yes, I mean, there were 7,000 years, there was a culture here. I mean, we don't know anything about it. I mean, all what we can trace is, all what we compare to is just 10,000 years, and how little. I mean, just think about a person who is in hell for 150,000 years. I mean, what kind of culture was he living in?
When the ice melted, the seas rose a couple hundred.
You're going completely off.
No, it obliterated like all the places where man lived, and so everything is erased.
You don't understand, Ken. You don't understand. It really doesn't matter. I mean, that's our logic, we are driven by. That's the logic, the Kilesas use against us. The rationalism. I mean, that was born for the last 200 years. We believe only what is rational.
Okay.
And whatever is rational is Kilesa.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't matter, what kind of civilization, how we were washed out, what is going to happen. We are going to be washed again from the planet. The Great Flood was reported in every great society, all over the globe. And that's what is going to happen again, and then nobody knows anything about our civilization anymore. But the civilization of the last civilization that we don't know about is within our chitta.
Right. So now are you from the...
I mean, are we really so stupid that we believe when we are born that we are going to die like that, and then everything happens? Tabula rasa in the 1960s, that was the great ideas of the psychology. That a child is born as a tabula rasa, as a blank piece of paper. Whatever we write on it, that's the way how he acts. And then in the 90s, we had completely refused this idea because it was so wrong. And then the other, just think about, 100 years ago, a doctor came up and said, smoking is very good for your health. Yes. I mean, the first time, smoked, and he said it's very good for your health.
Years ago.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, and then, until the 60s, there was never any complaints about smoking. I mean, we all have to die of diseases, don't we? I mean, alcohol is the biggest disease. That's where most of the people get killed by. And how does the law treat it? Please,
Consume.
Please, consume as much as possible. So because if you consume as much as possible, much more easier we can reign you.
Happy hours.
Whatever. And so we need for a scapegoat. And now cigarettes are the scapegoat. No matter, I mean, we die of cancer, we die of, all kinds of diseases. Every one of us has to die. But now we're looking for a scapegoat. Huh? I mean, are we really in our minds? No. I mean, just looking at it from a different perspective, you shows that, we are completely unrational. I mean, the thing that we so much propose is completely unrational. We just take whatever we don't see, it doesn't exist. I mean, how stupid.
Is it avijja or what?
Yes, of course it is avijja. It is the cultivation, the civilization of the West who cultivates avijja. The more the better. Because then it's much easier to reign and to use other people for their own purpose, for their own greed. The more we are left in the dark, just look at the newspapers, how much they leave us in the dark. I mean, how much they fool us. I mean, they don't tell us, that there are holy people, going through the hells of pain. Nobody reports that. Huh?
That's right.
They report only how one person stabbed another one, how one killed or raped another person. And that's what we hear, and that's what we look forward, and that's what we are going to do. The video games are just the same thing. I mean, in the 80s, sex and crime, sex and brutality. I mean, that is what is stimulating the most. I mean, there's no animal as cruel as the human animal. I mean, an animal doesn't torture another animal. I mean, it kills it for a reason. because it wants to be, superior. But we torture other people. We torture them. And we enjoy torture them. We enjoy seeing their pain. I mean, is that human? I mean, are we completely off the track? I mean, not necessarily we just being tortured by the Gestapo or just being tortured by the police, or but torturing ourselves, within the company. Finding the bad things about another person, and put it on the blackboard. You see what this person does, I'm good, but look at this person, what he's doing. Married, torturing our wife, by, picking up another wife. A mere noise. We don't even think about it. We only think about one thing. Whatever we want to do, that's what we do. Whatever we want to get that's what we want to get. That's what we get. Another person, as long as he does what we want him to do, it's a nice person, it's a very kind person, it's a very good friend. The moment he starts, acting against our wishes, he becomes our enemy. I mean, is this human? I mean, can we really call ourselves human beings? I mean, who have a code of conduct? By torturing other people? By looking down on other people? By looking down on other religions? I mean, how is all this enmity created in this world? Looking down. Not necessarily by war. I mean, we are the first world, huh? I mean, we never thought about it, how much it can hurt other people.
What is the second world? Second world is the enemy, right?
No, the second world is the enemy, and the third world, is our resources. I mean, we treat them like animals. The third world. You come in there, with the brute power of our. Now it's the brute power of companies, money. Before it was the brute power of soldiers, and just take what we want. Not respecting anything, Not respecting the culture that they live in, the rights they have, the laws they have. We impose our laws on them. I mean, we want the oil of Iraq, so we're going to bomb Iraq. We wanted the oil of Afghanistan, so we make war in Afghanistan. As a compensation for it, we get the oil back.
Afghanistan doesn't have any oil.
Yes, it has control of a lot of oil.
They're not doing Burma.
And they're doing the same thing in Burma. Oh, they have.
Iraq has the oil.
You don't know. Afghanistan has.
Burma a long time ago
Where?
Have lots of oil.
Where? Really?
The Caspian Sea.
I didn't know.
They're not.
I mean, they are just at that time. No?
They're not on the Caspian.
Doesn't matter.
The Persians are.
Doesn't matter. I mean, see,
I'm just curious.
But they're paying the price now in the country.
Of course.
There are other two countries.
I thought Burma once upon a time in the late 60s and early.
Now they discovered the oil in Burma, and now what is it going to do? United States?
Not only oil, but it's uranium. But the Russian is doing a plant and underground together with North Korea. That's why.
I mean, it really doesn't matter if this is, it's a principle that matters.
No, it's their property, Chamika.
It's a principle that matters. We just go in, we go in there by rational thoughts, and we lie to our own country, to our own people. We want to help the people of Iraq, but all what we really want is the oil. Huh?
Well, this has been going on.
Yes, it's just an example, how it's perverted. I mean, of course it has been going on, the British did the same thing with India. I mean, they completely exploited India. I mean, it started, killing all these Red Indians. I mean, it started in the 14th century. I mean, probably earlier, yeah? No. Well, they just killed each other for food.
No, what they killed? What did they have? The Indians?
Gold.
Oh gosh, good thing, huh?
Lots of gold.
Lots of gold.
Was you talking about the American Indians?
Yes. The Red Indians.
Have you not killed them?
Yeah, the Spanish killed them.
It wiped out.
How about the blacks?
It wiped out close to 90% of the population.
I don't know about all black Joes. Is it diamond? I heard it's diamond. They're chasing after diamond, Jamaica.
It doesn't really matter. Does it?
Sad, no?
Does it really matter, What we are chasing now, if it's diamond or if it's gold, it's still greed.
But so many people suffer.
And, other people are killed for that greed.
It was the Spanish in Mexico. Was the only place.
Inquisitor.
And in South America.
They were looking for the city of gold. Yeah?
They never found it because there wasn't one.
Does it really matter? But they killed off the Red Indians.
Oh gosh.
I mean, they killed off the, I don't know what the Aztec. They completely, wiped them out. I mean, they had a superior civilization.
Yeah. An
irrigation system that was unknown in the Western world.
That was South America.
Yes, of course, I'm talking about South America. Central America, mostly Central America.
The disease was the real,
The Spanish were brutal with them.
They were just brutal. I mean, I'm not talking about the disease that came afterwards.
Columbus brought back syphilis from the
Americans
and the Spanish introduced under Cortez.
I mean, we are not going to discuss history here because I'm not a historian, and I mean, just see, when we come, especially now, it's a very, very good objective. No? We are taught in Europe. We are taught a certain way of viewing history, and of course, the Americans see it completely different because they live in that country. They don't want to see the bad things that they did. So they're going to disguise it. Oh, there was a smallpox, Actually, when we look at it, when we look at the records that the historians dig up, I mean, it was just brutal killing.
What I'm saying is that no, just listen.
I mean, it doesn't matter if your opinion is right or our opinion is right. It's still opinions.
In the by 1700, smallpox had killed off 90% of the population. I mean, you can't imagine how devastating it was because they had absolutely no resistance. And when they would get smallpox, the first thing they would do with the fever is lay in the water, and that would be just make it 100% deadly because the fever sometimes can kill off the disease and people will survive. Now, when the western part of the United States, it was like the Indians already had adopted European culture, were riding horses from Europe, had guns from Europe, knives from Europe, and to that extent, their culture was already totally corrupted. Also,
so, and what do you want to say with this?
No, what I'm saying is that it wasn't like there was a high culture and they were innocent. The Aztecs, to give you an idea what kind of a culture it was. Does
it really matter? And I mean,
no, I'm saying is they sacrificed.
I know
40,000 people to dedicate the temple shortly before the Spanish.
I mean, just stop it now, Ken.
Okay. But I'm just saying.
Stop it.
Okay.
You're just saying why, just say, why do you say it? You don't make a point with it. You just express your opinion.
No, I'm saying this is, I've read the Aztec accounts written by the Aztecs.
Yeah.
I've read those too.
Yes. I mean, what is the point,
Well, I mean,
We were talking about what we are going to do if we don't get what we want. We just kill the people off. So what has it to do with that?
I don't know.
Because of greed.
You were making statements that I thought were not true.
It doesn't matter if a statement is true, it's an opinion.
No.
That's what I expressed as an opinion, and that's what you expressed is completely different opinion.
No.
You see it in a different way, and I see it in a different way. And why do we see it? And I told you why we see it in different ways. Because we were raised in and educated in Europe that view it in a different way, and you were raised and educated in the States. And what we don't want to see in Europe, you see, you have a view of Europeans, and what we don't want to see, we were never educated at. And what you didn't want to see, you were never educated at. And do you understand that? It has nothing to do with the truth. The truth is greed and hate. That's the truth. That leads us to all these nasty things. That's why, I said stop. It doesn't really matter if your opinion is right or my opinion is right. We have to relate it to the Dhamma.
Okay.
What leads people to cheat on other people? And how much do we praise our achievements of cheating other people, of getting what we want? That's what we praise. And that's what we call civilization. Civilization is doing good for others, huh? And did any kind of government of us do that? The church was supposed to do it. They were looking after the beggars in the street, they were looking after the sick people. The government didn't care about it, they only wanted the healthy people for their wars and all the money. Huh? That is what is called civilization, looking. Having metta with their fellow countrymen. We observe everything. And that is my whole point I'm going to make. Not if my education, I know my European education is wrong in a certain way because we don't want to see it this way. And I know the same thing about the American education is wrong in other ways. Because they don't want to see it this way. They want it to be the glorious, rescuers of the pure Indian tribes. Doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I just overstate things to make a point. We wanted to say, what do you want?
May I go to the toilet?
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
There used to be my American friend come from Buffalo, New York, and I asked her where are the buffaloes from? And she said, because the Indians, the Indians in Buffalo are very great, but we cannot get rid of them. So we get rid of the buffaloes where they have to live on. When there's no buffaloes left, they cannot survive. That's why.
That's really, it really doesn't matter. But see, yeah. Now look. When you are now mindful, when you do now your Buddha, and then reflect about the things that you said, where do they come from? That's the only question I have. If they don't come from conceit, I'm right and you're wrong.
No.
Then where they come from?
No.
See? No. Where is it coming from? Close your mouth and observe. If there's something if I say something that is not to your liking, and that's the same thing with me. If it's not to my liking, I will say no. I will defend myself. And so you say you defend yourself. That should be a red alarm clock. Lightening up the moment you defend something, the moment you say no, there's something wrong in your heart. That's it. There's something wrong. The moment you have to react, the moment you have to express your opinions, your views, no matter how, maybe they are more right than mine, but you still have to express them. You still have to counteract. I mean, where does it come from? Does it come from Dhamma? Dhamma sees things, they are right. And it's completely subdued to it. The only thing that objects is kilesas. And that's why I told you, before you left, just a few months ago, observe your speech. Because there is the most, there where you get all the information about what is still wrong within your chitta. I mean, whatever you do, you defend is wrong. It's the kilesas who defend a view. And a view is a part of yourself. So you defend yourself that you know. I mean, no matter maybe even if you're right. And then you can let it go because you know you're right. But you don't know. You're not sure. That's why you defend.
I'm sure.
Then you don't need to defend.
Yeah.
Then you don't need to defend.
Okay, then I'll that I can accept.
Yes. I mean, if I state that I'm this kind of person, that I'm a scientist.
I'm
Okay.
a scientist too,
So,
but I'm a political scientist.
Yeah. She's a political scientist, I'm a computer scientist, so. And then somebody comes there and says, you're not. I know that I'm a scientist. I don't care. Whatever he thinks, even if he thinks I'm an asshole, I don't care. And I sometimes can understand where his view is coming from.
Cry.
If somebody says something bad about me, then I can understand where his view is coming from.
Oh, okay.
He sees something, characteristic, that creates a pattern of reaction within him. And before that, I was just reacting the same way, so I understand why he's calling me these names. I mean, but I don't have to, convince him that he's wrong. But you have to convince me that you're right. I mean, that is wrong. No. In its see, no?
You're putting your interpretation onto my words. You're putting your interpretation onto my words. And so, it's not the same.
No, you don't.
No, I'm saying...
Please do me a favor. Just do a Buddha for 5 minutes.
I understand what you're saying on that. I understand that.
Everybody else saw it, but you don't see it.
No, I do see what you're talking about, okay? You just basically, I should not even have said anything and just let it go by. That's what is essentially what I should have done.
That is just the way of behavioral pattern. I mean, that is the first stage, how we can control, how we can see where the root cause is. To stop not reacting. I mean, that's what that's the first step, We stop reacting. I mean, we stop reacting by speech and by action. We can't yet stop reacting by thought. But we try to stop reacting by thoughts by putting back on Buddha. In order, when the mind is calm, that it sees what is actually going on. Why do we need to react? And if you don't believe me, that we always do react because somebody, says something that is different to our opinion of what we know or what we are. That's when we are reacting.
I understand I shouldn't have responded. I shouldn't have reacted. Because basically, I understand also that what we don't want to do, we're trying to eliminate, is reacting to anything. It's the whole idea of becoming equanimity, or in terms of just sort of...
It's only the first stage. I mean, it's not yet really equanimity.
No, but I'm saying is that's what we're striving for.
Yes.
I can understand.